Okay, the purpose of this video is to walk you through the initial setup of a version 2 SensorGnome. In a previous video, which I've linked in the description below, we set up and flashed a micro SD card with the version 2 SensorGnome software, set up our access password, and now we have taken that micro SD card, installed it into our Raspberry Pi based SensorGnome, powered up that SensorGnome, and now we can make the initial connection. I'm doing this on a laptop. You can do this just as easily with a smart device, a phone or a tablet, but in this case we are using a Windows laptop. First thing to do is to navigate to your network settings, so you can choose an available Wi-Fi network. In this case, the one we're looking for is SG hyphen followed by the serial number of the Raspberry Pi, and then with a hyphen INIT suffix. So this is the initial Wi-Fi hotspot that the SensorGnome will set up. You can connect to that. This will open a hotspot splash page. If we have set up the micro SD card correctly in the previous video, either of these two links should work. I always use the one on the left, as it seems to be more reliable in my experience. Then you will be prompted to enter the password you set up as part of that our SD card process. In our case, it was ABC testing. Yours may vary. Once you do that, it will say that your SensorGnome is successfully set up. You will be disconnected from that hotspot, and then to navigate to the actual SensorGnome web interface, we will reconnect to a different network, which is the serial number of the SensorGnome without the dash init. This Wi-Fi hotspot will no longer show up in the future. This is the one we will use to connect to the SensorGnome from now on. So you can click to that one, select that one. It'll ask for the key. That is the same password, ABC testing, or whatever you've set it to be. You'll be asked to select again one of these links, and once you've done that, you will be brought into the SensorGnome's web interface. The password will be the same, ABC testing, or whatever you've set it up to be, and then you'll be brought to a screen with the different tabs available for the SensorGnome's web interface. The landing screen is kind of a generic station screen that tells you whether it's getting accurate time from the GPS that's attached and an accurate location. In this case we are. If you're on a mobile device, you may have to select a menu button in the top left corner and then choose amongst these different tabs. The Files tab will tell you about your connection, your upload of detection files to the Modus server. In this case, this device is not connected to the internet, so that hasn't happened here. It's also the location where you could download manually the detection files off of your SensorGnome if this was in a remote location without connectivity. The Radios tab shows you what devices are connected. In this case, I have a single FunCube attached. Any detections or possible detections would show up in the Tags and Pulses window if there were any. There are not any at the moment. There are some useful figures down here to look at rates of tag detection pulses and background noise levels. The Network tab is where you can set up access or connection to a local wireless network. This can be really useful as a way to connect the SensorGnome to the internet to automatically offload detection data and send it to Modus. If you have done that, it will also report on the status of the connection to the Modus servers. It doesn't have to be a wireless connection. It can also be wired through an Ethernet cable. Configuration tab is one where you can tweak or modify the acquisition file for the SensorGnome. And then lastly, the software tab is the place where you would navigate if you wanted to update your software. If your device is connected to the internet, you can update to the latest SensorGnome software. So that's it. This is now successfully established. You can connect anytime in the future using that same Wi-Fi network. That is the serial number of the SensorGnome. And enjoy.